Okay, and we actually got some Star Trek stuff to talk about for a change. Let's starting off with the merger, Paramount-Skydance merger. Again, I had heard that this was over. It fell apart, and it did. It actually fell apart earlier, and the other people started swooping in. And apparently, let me just bring that up here. Make sure we're finding that. What the hell? There we go. Yeah, let's get this up here, top here. Yeah, it's like as of let's see. Let's just read it here. It's and a move that reshapes Hollywood's landscape. Entertainment titan Paramount is merging with Skydance, the marketing end of the Redstone family's marking the end of the Redstone family's significant era in the film industry, according to reporting by Associated Press. This merger not only provides a much-needed financial boost to Paramount, but also elevates David Ellison, Skydance's founder, as a key industry player. Sherry Redstone, who oversees national amusements and controls the majority of Paramount's voting stock, has been the steadfast guardian of her father's legacy. Paramount, known for cinematic milestones like Top Gun and The Godfather, now faces the challenge of staying relevant in an evolving entertainment world. Despite initially rejecting a similar offer, Redstone agreed to the current deal, highlighting the necessity of fortifying Paramount's future. And I think that's the big thing, is because the other bidders are swooping around, and there was more like vultures ready to rip it apart and just scatter the bits of the wind. Given the changes in the industry, we want to fortify Paramount for the future while ensuring that the content remains king, Redstone emphasized. The merger, valued at approximately $28 billion, is set to conclude by September 2025, contingent on regulatory approval. An investment consortium led by the Ellison family and Redbird Capital will inject $8 billion into the venture. Skydance, headquartered in Santa Monica, has been a crucial partner for Paramount, contributing to hits like Top Gun, Maverick, and the Mission Impossible. No, Star Trek is not mentioned anywhere in this piece, even though it came in through Star Trek Daily News. David Ellison, who co-founded Skydance in 2010, will helm the new entity, New Paramount, as chairman and CEO. He outlined his vision in a recent conference call, emphasizing a creative-first strategy and the need to integrate more technology into their operation. Ellison pointed out that the success of tech giants in the media space and stressed the importance of a similar transformation for a new Paramount. You've watched some incredibly powerful technology companies move into the media space and do very successfully, Ellison stated. Yeah. He also outlined plans to revamp the Paramount Plus streaming service, aiming to boost user engagement and reduce churn. That's turnover, basically. Alongside adopting cloud-based production and generative AI for efficiency. Yeah, this some people point out this could mean kind of beginning to the end for Hollywood as an entity, because the reason why Hollywood became the center for movie production, a lot of things. One, background, like the turn of the century, just after the turn of the century. Let's just say a lot of people were operating on stealing patents from Edison, because he had patented pretty much the entire process of making movies. And usually, previously, it would have been made back in New Jersey. So, but the thing is, that's within striking distance of Edison. They moved out west to get away from it. So that by the time that it did catch back, it was like 1910s, just before World War I. It took a while for the word to get back to, hey, they're using your stuff. By that point, they're already set up and established, and you can't touch them. So Hollywood has always been a sleazy little town. Okay, no, it's always been a dirty little, backstabbing little town. It was founded on it. But now that everyone has a high def camera in their phone and capable to zoom in, in fact, that Georgia is now becoming the hub of a lot of production nowadays. Hollywood is largely becoming irrelevant. And that's kind of what this deal is supposed to try and prevent, Paramount from going the way of the dodo here. Because they got to, they have again, these other, these hedge funds that people are coming in, they were looking to dismantle Paramount. And, basically that wonderful, glorious, century-old lot that encompasses not just Paramount, but also the old Desi lot, which used to be the RKO lot. they'd be planning condos right now. You know, it'd be Paramount Estates. Stage 9 would now be an apartment building in the planning. So it's kind of safeguarding that. And a lot of those students need to start thinking about that. The MGM backlot is long gone. It's Century City. Century City used to be the 20th Century Fox backlot. It's like a lot of old Hollywood is gone. The 40-acre lot where the Desert League and Archie used to have, where all the location shooting, where they shot, besides a lot of Star Trek, they also shot Hogan's Heroes out there, the Andy Griffith show. F Troop, I think. No, I mean, it was up by Vasquez. But no, there's a lot of stuff out there. And that's all gone now. All you got is the streets and maybe a mailbox or two or a fire plug. There is some production out there, but everything is gone from what was there. But Paramount is founded because it goes in here. They're founded in 1910. So. But let's see, get into here. Further restructuring starts with Jeff Shell of Redbird Sports and Media identifying potential cost efficiencies amounting to $2 billion. Despite the despite the decline in linear TV growth, Shell emphasized the need to adapt and maintain this aspect of the business. So the big thing is they are on content. So, the merger comes at a turbulent time for Paramount, which has faced difficulties maintaining its foothold. Earlier this year, a leadership shakeup saw CEO Bob Backus replaced with a triumvirate of executives, and significant cost-cutting measures were introduced. Founded actually in 1914, Paramount boasts a storied history of classics like Sunset Boulevard, The Godfather, and Titanic. Actually, that was a joint, but I think Paramount only distributed. Fox produced it. But, anyway, they got a piece of the action. Despite its recent struggles, the studio achieved notable success with Top Gun Maverick in 2020, which grossed nearly $1.5 billion worldwide, aiding the industry recovery post. And Top Gun Maverick was with Skydance. That's one of their ends. Also, they worked on some of the JJ Trek movies. Yet, Paramount's theatrical releases have dwindled. Last year only saw 8 new films, placing it 5th in the box office rankings. This year's slate remains modest, especially with Mission Impossible 8 delayed to 2025 due to industry strikes. Upcoming titles like Bob Marley One Love, The Quiet Place, Day One, and Ridley Scott's Gladiator sequel offer some promise. After that trailer they put out, apparently, don't hold your breath. It's a little bit of a slog. National Association of Theater Owners expressed cautious optimism about the merger. Michael O'Leary, the association's president, voiced concerns about the potential reduction in theatrical releases, emphasizing the broad impact on the industry. Sumner Redstone, through National Amusements, built the media empire encompassing CBS and Viacom, which merged and separated multiple times, most recently during in 2019 as Paramount Global. Under his leadership, Viacom became a media powerhouse with assets like MTV and Comedy Central. I think it says this guy's a lifetime Star Trek fan, but he doesn't mention Star Trek. So that reads more like something out of the Entertainment, the Hollywood Reporter. But that's kind of what we're looking at here. It's all right, Charlie. That's a. Again, I think a big thing of what happened there was the people who were coming in to take over for Skydance did not necessarily have Paramount's best interest at heart. They saw it as something to chop up and strip mine it. And they would have been selling off not just the various IPs the studio, they would have been selling off the lot. The studio lot would have been up for sale probably. And again, that historic studio would have been gone within a few years, replaced by condos. So as far as it was for the the integrity of the studio, apparently, though she did this. Now, as for what this means for Star Trek, I don't know. I'd recommend start hammering Skydance about why we want Kurtzman gone and Secret Hideout needs to be cut loose. Because from their perspective, and again, this is kind of why Kurtzman's been puffing up his resume a bit. Oh, we've been doing all the happy talk because he knows new owners are coming in. Apparently, it's going to be Skydance. So they work with Skydance. Oh, we did, they did fine with Skydance, didn't we? And no, you didn't really, because Beyond just outright bombed at the box office. It was an utter, unmitigated failure. At the domestic box office, certainly. I may have gotten some of it back internationally, but the U.S. box office was pathetic. Hello, K70. Okay. So I don't know, but a large part is all the institutional knowledge of how to properly make Star Trek is gone. Terry Matalas was the last hope we had as far as someone who actually had been there before the dark times, was involved. He worked on DS9 as a PA. He was on Braggart's assistant on Voyager. He got up to bit, did a lot of work in Enterprise. He knew how the sausage was made and how to make it, and it showed with season 3 of Enterprise. No, season 3 of Picard. Okay, well, I'll sure and check them out because I need to get back into doing the fan film stuff. But I would recommend do the old fashioned route, letter campaign, write-ins. Let them know. No, Kurtzman is not good. He does not know what he's doing. He's got people who don't know what they're doing. That's kind of why Paramount is in the state it's in, because they spent like drunken sailors on Enterprise and on Discovery and Picard and Strange New Worlds. And actually, I would also tack on renew Lower Decks. That might be the way to go for a while. It's a good deal more cost efficient. You don't have the physical sets of it. You don't have the flying everybody from all over the world to get them on camera at the same time. Yeah, Terry. Yeah, and Terry's got me blocked on Twitter, so it's not like I, trying to suck up name or anything. But I think I don't know. Some of my other stances may piss him off a bit, but. Again, the only reason season 3 Picard wasn't better than it was, Prodigy I think is fine because Amazon is fitting the bill for that most part. So I think Prodigy will be fine. If Prodigy does good on Netflix, it's on Netflix, yeah. Then they'll get more seasons because then it'll be up to Prodigy to say, no, we want more of this. But part of the thing is like Prodigy wasn't going to live long anyway, so long as Paramount was the one having to foot all the bills for it because they couldn't afford it. They had blown so much on. You think those sets even, again, a lot of people say, oh, the old sets are made on plywood. Guess what? Dirty little secret, the sets on Strange New World and Discovery, they're also plywood. Okay? Just because you get a fancy paint job on it, it's still wood. Okay? There's a lot of pine being used on those sets, kids. Don't think they're suddenly using duranium, okay? No, Prodigy I'm not that worried about because Netflix will decide that one. If it does well for them, then they'll renew it. They'll keep paying for that. And hopefully also hey, Lower Decks ain't done yet, okay? They still got more to do, and they've made it clear that we ain't through yet. We'd like to keep going, So start hammering hashtag renew Lower Decks, save Lower Decks. Get that going. And also, I would emphasize that again, the cost effectiveness. Because it's a lot. It's an expensive show, but compared to a live action show, where you got to have everybody down there on these big expensive sets during this time period. Animated shows, it's like they've got everything on file. They can fire up those, in no time. And one thing they established during COVID is that everyone's on, record. Some have little recording studios set up in the closets, and they'll send their lines in remotely. And they're very good voice actors. They know how to do this stuff remotely, so they don't have to everybody. And then again, it's kind of like the new technology. They don't need Hollywood. They don't need to go down to stage 15 at 5 a.m. and get ready to start shooting at 9. The gal playing Talin doesn't have to spend a few hours in makeup, getting the ears put on. So she just gets up, goes to her closet, opens the thing. Okay, let's do it. Lower Decks, I'll grant Lower Decks is maybe a bit of an acquired taste. Okay. Well, let's see. I actually one idea I had when I was my idea for redoing the ending for Generations, where Kirk lives. The Vegas thing was still up and standing. They could have easily just do a bit of lighting and reshot, the bridge scenes or everything, in there, and very little reshooting involving having to rebuild sets. I'm not sure what the. Well, actually, no. Kali is rebuilding the next gen bridge set. They've got parts of that. I'm not sure how far along he is on that, but the add on to the set tours is the Enterprise D bridge. As for, again, also what they really want to do a prequel type thing. No, I'm fine with plugs. Okay, got to go and put it up here. See, so I'm gonna go check it out. We'll see how it's going. But like I said, I think right now the animated way is probably the way to go for a while. Because again, you can bring it. You want to guest star as long as they can get to a microphone and send in their lines online. Fine, we'll have anybody on there. In fact, that one episode of Prodigy where what's his face is running the Kobayashi Maru 15,000 times. The only actor they presented, all the characters they brought up, the only one who's still alive was Gates McFadden. And she was actually to record new lines. Everyone else, it was farmed from previous footage. Because by then, Renee Auberjonois had died. Lee Moy, of course, had died. Scott, Jamie Doohan had died. Nichelle Nichols had died. Everyone on the bridge that he called up was previously dead. So, okay, that's good. It's gonna, it's an animated thing. So, again, I need to get back into doing the fan film reviews anyway. So, I'll look forward to checking it out. Yeah. But, and again, I did send a link out to Rosetta. I don't know how busy she is with her gaming. So. This wasn't. A lot of people were. One of the art directors had to bite his tongue for months. Because a lot of us are on the thing bitching about the metal floor and all that stuff, and now it's like, the carpet there for a reason. And so he had to, because he knew this was coming up. They get on the Enterprise D bridge. You know what I missed? The carpet. It's like, oh, and the adapter for this other monitor is on its way. It's out for delivery. Let me check that. Notifications. Come on. Where are we here? Where the hell are you? The notification was through eBay. What the hell happened? Well, whatever. It's on its way. So how soon it'll get here, I don't know. But all right. Well, yeah, that's kind of why they went with the original animated show back in the 70s. It's like they had already destroyed the sets or distributed pieces of the Four Winds. But that's when the grounds was, hey, people want the show back. So they started exploring, well, how can we do it with not going to bankrupt us to start all over again? Like, well, go Saturday morning cartoon. Thank you, sir. I need more subs. Come on, join on in. Yeah. Okay, I don't know which one. I'm not familiar with the Catalina class, so all right. But okay, yeah. But I would start hammering Skydance about our concerns because I don't know how much of this is getting to them. We've Amazon focusing on Paramount and CBS. It's like now we got a new player. These are the guys going to be running the thing. Let them know what's going on. It's like, yeah, we don't like Kurtzman. We don't like his producers or other cast of idiots. You know. And also maybe throw in a point about how, reason why these shows have 15, 16, 20 executive producers so they can all get a piece of the pie. That's why you're bloated budgets. You know, whether they have anything to do with the episode in question or not, they get a check. That's the thing about, movie credits. Your name appears on screen. That means you got paid. Even people who showed up in deleted scenes, that Max Kredenchik, his bit was cut from First Contact, but he still got a screen credit. Yeah. But that, it's like, let them know. It's like, because once upon a time, the show would have maybe a couple of, usually one executive producer and a few line producers. Now it's like I said, with Discovery, it's like the list of executive producers outnumbered the cast. Literally, I'm not just joking. They literally had like 19, executive producers and a few line producers and associate. Like, had a cast of like 7 or 8 people. But they do that so that, you can get a piece of the action even if you had nothing to do with this episode. If you've never seen the Paramount lot, But yeah, let's move on to other stuff here. A couple of them from one's red shirts always die here. Whoops. Here we go. Let's go ahead and pull this one up here. A little thing about, I think to try and cut down on sort of the, Roddenberry would have liked that. I said Roddenberry was not necessarily infallible. And they said many fans cite what Roddenberry went up from Star Trek, but he hated most things fans loved. Okay. This one, I think they kind of missed the point of a lot of it. It's like, without Gene Roddenberry, wouldn't be here writing about Star Trek. There's not a single person in this world who can debate that fact. Yet, with Roddenberry, the franchise may never survive the 80s. People often forget that Roddenberry was only really around for the original series run in the 1960s and then for Star Trek motion picture. Second film of the franchise, all the way to the start of the Next Generation, was not produced by Roddenberry. He was removed from this position of power by Paramount after the failure of the first motion picture did not fail. It was one of the biggest money makers in 1979. But he was a pain in the ass to deal with. I'll grant him that. He both the studio heads and also people on their production. The guy who sent to kind of help him along, they drove him nuts because he'd produce a script and then Roddenberry rewrite it and it would be total shit. And he knew it was total shit. But just to prove a point that, hey, I'm in charge here. And he would get called on the carpet for it. You don't shit on something to make it good thing. But it's like, yeah, the thing to remember about Roddenberry, by the time of Next Generation, he was essentially retired. He knew he wasn't as sharp as he used to be, and then it turns out he's developing water on the brain, actually. And it got worse as time went on, but he really, he knew he really wasn't up for this. But what they were planning on doing, they were going to do a new Star Trek show that became Next Generation, but it was like they were going to do the old thing, kind of like what they're doing with Starfleet. It's going to be cadets running the ship and getting all the kinds of hijinks and adventures. No, God damn it, no, I could do better than that now. No, and of course their response was, "Would you, please?" It's like kind of, oh shit, I just put my neck out there. So he kind of got himself roped into coming back out of retirement to fire up one more time and get the band back together. And he brought in a lot, from David Gerrold, Dorothy Fontana, Bob Justman. I think Andy Milkus was there for a while. and got as many the people who were there who knew how this shit was made the first time. And apparently, large parts of the writer's guide was actually written by David Gerald. But again, Roddenberry's like, no, it's got to be, he wasn't going to get co-creator credit. And you could argue both ways. It's like, it's still based on his brainchild. And again, by this time, Roddenberry of 1985 was not the Roddenberry of 1967. He was starting to believe his own hype a little bit. Let's get this out. It's getting annoying. All right. But yeah, he had substantial problems with. It wasn't just with the Wrath of Khan. The way they did things. This isn't my show. I thought he cited the interview with Starlog about and Kirk, the Ceti eel falls out of Chekhov's ear and said Kirk shoots her in the face like an old lady stomping on a spider. It's like that's not the character we created over those years. So we got a brand new life form. Let's take a look at it. No, And he also didn't appreciate, that Nick Meyer was Larry. He said he threw on the old naval stuff with a trowel, by his own words. That rubbed him a bit. He really didn't like the uniform. So it looked like something out of a student prince, production. It's like this is and I didn't like him. That's too much, I've grown used to it. I got one in my closet over there, but just because, but. It's still a bit overdone, I really should have kept it a little simpler. All right. But he's on as executive consultant, so he did have, they would have to send him stuff and he'd have the right to respond. Whether or not they're obligated to answer was on them. Usually they didn't, but he got his voice in. And there may also have been a thing because way back in the 60s, while they're gearing up for Star Trek, Roddenberry was doing a lot of pilots. One of them was a Western that had been sold at one point. The Long Hunt of April Savage. It's going to be a Robert Lansing thing about some kind of a quest. And apparently it would have been sold to ABC. And the network guy who came down to find out what's going on here was Harv Bennett. And apparently made enough of a nuisance of himself that Roddenberry had him thrown off the set. So there may have been a little bit. I don't know whether or not Roddenberry remembered Harv Bennett from the days. Who the hell knows? But a bit of an irony that he's the guy who got tabbed to take over the movie thing. Because again, the motion picture did not fail. That's the thing. It did not fail. It made a lot of money. Even with the bloated budget, added on the budget of Phase 2 and the other movies on there, it still made money back. And it wasn't even on that many screens. So you sold a lot of tickets and a lot of butts and seats on there. But they were interviewing Harv Bennett. And they're saying, oh, can you do this and this? And one of the executives said, can you make it for less than $44 million? That was the crush right there. It wasn't that, all these costs got tacked on. They had to make up for it. Because really, it was all told maybe a $20 million movie. Okay. Of course, Bennett's responsible for that much money. I'll make it 10 movies. Now, yeah, you're hired. But in first couple of years, they brought in Maurice Hurley. Conventional TV. He thought Roddenberry was nuts with his ideas, but he worked in as he could. But he really didn't like Gates McFadden speaking up about that, so that's why she was shown the door for a while. But when they brought in Michael Piller, and his approach was, no, these are the rules that the boss has set down. Let's figure out a way to work within them. And his big thing was less about plot, to work, with the character stuff, And you got it down. And that's, again, when Piller came in, he was really Next Gen's answer to Gene Coon. In that respect, he was a writer producer type. He could spin some great scripts, and he worked with them, and great. And that's when Roddenberry felt he could finally let go. And okay, they've got it now. They've got stuff that works, and they're bringing the stuff in. They're doing the good stories. By the time about their conference time, usually about the best aspect of the show, Roddenberry didn't want to focus on Klingons, Vulcans, and Romulans anymore. He wanted a wider focus on new aliens. Yeah, what's wrong there? Because it took a lot of just to get Worf on the bridge. And Justman was pushing for. I thought, look, this is a big statement. The fact that this enemy is now a valued member of the crew on the bridge. It's like, okay, good. Yeah, Roddenberry would, but he could convince. It gave him good, you know, and that's what got Worf on the bridge. Okay, this is how far we've progressed. We now have a Klingon as a member of our crew. But yeah, it's like he really didn't like Undiscovered Country that much. He again by this point, next generation is a thing, and he's still in the office. What's what I do, and he's railing at Myers. Now he's got some authority, and he had something because I had the same complaint about when Kirk gives the order right standard rudder. It's like starships don't have rudders. They kept it in regardless. Like, no, that please, get rid of that line. Find another one. It may have been ticky tack, but it rankled me a bit there. But it's like they did take some of his stuff into account though, but not enough because shortly before he died, I mean, he was blind to one eye. He wasn't sure he's good. So it's debatable how much of the movie they did screen it for him. So we did see it before he died. And it was at, house party by the pool. And somebody asked him, well, how's the next movie doing? He sort of, And after it came out, there were the complaints that came out were the same complaints Roddenberry had most parts. We should have listened to Roddenberry, actually. All right. So yeah, Roddenberry's involvement in Star Trek should never be dismissed, but it's worth saying the franchise has become bigger than just one man. It's no longer just Roddenberry's baby. It's with the idea of dozens and hundreds of people. When some of the best work came out, despite Roddenberry wanted, it's fair to cite what he would or wouldn't like. Considering he liked very little, it seemed. All right. All right, and get over here. That. I think Denise Crosby did have some regret of it. I probably should have stuck around. Okay, phase 2 was the attempt at doing a second Star Trek series in the mid-late 70s. But when Barry Diller was running Paramount and they were trying to establish a fourth network, and this new Star Trek show, Star Trek Phase 2, is going to be the flagship. It's like what he did later when he was back at Paramount and he did with UPN and Voyager. That was the base of the model. At the time, it might not have worked. But by the time of Voyager, everyone's all hungry. Okay, yeah, we got this thing going. Let's go for it. And they did pretty well. I mean, again, the Caretaker beat Monday Night Football. That doesn't happen. that didn't happen back then. Again, I can see the issues there. Most of my stuff and looking into the Star Trek histories, and formulating what makes it is I try to get from the perspective of Roddenberry and as a producer. I mean, okay, this will work here because this, and this, because actually, the Make It a Star Trek is written from a production point of view, and that's where I got it looking at why they did this and this. Well, there's a few. Star Trek 6 kind of had to happen because that was the 25th anniversary of the show. And doesn't matter how much Star Trek 5 shit the bed. No, we got to have an anniversary movie. So I was like, a weekend update thing on Saturday Night Live. And Dennis Miller's running through the list of movies coming up, and it was all sequels. And wrapped it up with and Star Trek 6, The Apology. But as for that's why you get that's why Denise kept coming back after as Sela. because okay, this didn't quite work. But although I remember I saw her at early Creation Con. They weren't quite wasn't quite the Huckster thing. I mean, even then though, it was pretty much main events, dealer's room, and anything else was pretty much just fans doing it themselves. But I saw Denise Crosby. She was there, and someone did bring up the idea of a casting couch. And no, that didn't happen. I think Gene was kind of past that phase in his career. Besides, he was already banging Susan Sackett at the time, so he didn't need. I just had to keep up with her. But also, I'm also say that her leaving the show had nothing to do with her or doing a Playboy spread. No, that would have been an enhancement for Rodman. They back in the day they had actually on the original series that had been in Playboy. Okay, so that was certainly not a detriment. in that in his eyes, that would have been an enhancement. Oh yeah, definitely get her. Yeah. Well, yeah, okay, yeah. Actually, it goes into the next one I got here. Let's hear about the last one we got to deal with here. I think it's also from Chad Porto. Oh, yeah. The whole rationale between killing off Kirk makes no sense. So after all, it still makes no sense. Let's get rid of these stupid little head here. Now, the whole thing of how it went about, so Star Trek Generations brought together the franchises past and present for one unique film outing in 1994, featuring various members of the original series and the returning crew of the fan favorite television show, Next Generation. The writers of the film sought to hand off the baton from the first crew to the next crew. Everything is coming together in the film, serving not only as the seventh film in the original series catalog of movies, but also the first film for the Next Generation crew. Yet one hanging issue was what to do with what the franchise's two most identifiable captains, James T. Kirk of the USS Enterprise and Jean-Luc Picard of the USS Enterprise D. Both characters would see their actors, William Shatner and Patrick Stewart, return to the roles, getting Star Trek hyped up. With both actors back to play these crucial characters, the goal was to have them interact somehow in a way that would feel meaningful. The interaction was fine, all things considered, and the film was largely seen as a good yet shallow Star Trek film, one that should have had much larger possibilities tied to it, yet came off undercooked. Yeah, that's the way we put it. Part of the reason why it was the lack of original series characters. The other was how they were all used. None of them did anything of value, even Kirk. In fact, the driving force of the film, it seemed, was to kill off the character that started it all. Paramount refused any scenario in which Kirk would make it out of the first Next Generation film alive. It was mandated that Kirk die. Shatner told comicbook.com in 2019 he felt he had no choice but to go along with the idea, saying, well, I didn't think I had any choice in the matter. Paramount had decided that the ceiling that they could reach at our box office had been reached, and they thought that by putting the Next Generation cast, they would reach a higher box office. That decision had been made. It was either I was going to appear and die, or they were going to say he died. Either way, so I chose the more practical end. The practical means he get paid. The decision to kill Kirk was the wrong one and made no sense. The Next Generation was 100-odd years after the events of the original series, so it was fair to say Kirk was already dead by the time Picard was doing battle with the Borg. So the need to kill Kirk was done just to distance the franchise from Shatner and his colleagues. The decision to focus on the Next Generation films wasn't the wrong choice, but you didn't need to disrespect the fanbase by doing so. The death itself felt cheap and unearned. It's arguably one of the worst executed deaths in all the Star Trek history. Kirk does nothing in his final moments and instead is the victim of a malfunctioning walkway which crashes its way down the mountain to the rocks below. There's a joke as he didn't die on the bridge, he died under the bridge. That's how the icon of Star Trek. That's how the icon of science fiction and Star Trek dies. He falls. Star Trek Generations isn't a bad film, but it underwhelms. The death of Shatner's Kirk is part of the reason it does. Had Kirk died a more noble, thrilling way, perhaps the film would have been remembered more fondly. But that's not what we got. Anyhow, it's also where, again, I try to look at the production thing too. Basically, again, the original, when I saw the original, script. It was the earlier draft where Kirk is shot in the back. And I think I'm going to send out the link here. Now the people are starting to come up here. Let's get more of a panel going here. Let's see what we got here. Let's see. Where are you trying to say she's going to stream today? Well, you don't have to do it. You just get your ass in here. Oh, she's recording stuff. All right. Maybe a little later, but for now. Again, the original one, cocky, stuff, gets the remote to, 21st century is no huff, and then boom, he gets shot in the back by Soren. And spends the remainder of that whole thing while Picard and Soren find Kirk is kind of rolling around on the ground, sort of slowly dying. And Shatner came out to Starfest Denver that year and pointed out that how generations are going, because not anyone has seen the movie at that point or seen the script or knew what was going to happen. There have been rumors. And he pointed out that, okay, yeah, it did test screenings and it tested higher than any of the other movie came up until the last 10 minutes, and it tanked. People were not buying the way Kirk died in that one. And it basically would have killed the entire thing right there. And so when he announced that they were going to go back out there and reshoot the ending, the audience cheered. Yeah, the audience. Yes, it already been got nothing. Yeah, he's gonna die, and this is how he's gonna die. Good thing the script had already been out. I saw it when Starland still let us.
Yeah, Rosetta is not having a good.
I know she's still recording stuff too,
and she's also pretty ticky.
All right, well, the third, whether she wants to come in, but so the one they came up with was barely, more reasonable because, you still have Kirk being his heroic self, but everything happens after he hits the remote, decloaks the missile, and Picard's able to go up there and do what he was doing. He saved the day at that point. His death serves no purpose at that point. If you manage to scramble up off that rattle, before it falls off, same result. Day is saved. The difference is Kirk is still alive. And also the whole way. Why would you go back at that? You can go anywhere in the timeline. Oh, okay. Get in here. And Stevie.
Okay. Hey, Stevie.
With the Nexus, my rewrite of the ending. It's like I have him go back, confront Soren on the rocks, but no difference. Still go right back into the Nexus. It's like, okay, that didn't work. And that's where I go, okay, wait a minute here. And they start comparing notes here. Wait, he was on that ship? Okay. Picard, you go back to whatever you want to. I know what to do. And have Kirk go back to the Enterprise B. Have Soren rework the deflector. He's still got. I got to go back. Come with me. Have him rework the deflector to break through the ship. So when the thing hits, boom, he's sucked into the Nexus. Crisis over. He ain't coming back to cause havoc and blow up stars. That's at that point. Okay, we're done now. Let's have a little word with the Starfleet, which you thought they'd send out the ship without any photon torpedoes, or attractive. And then fast forward back to the bridge of the Enterprise D. And we had notification from Picard's brother that, okay, thanks for the warning on the heater thing. Fire averted. Great. That happy ending there. So we don't flambe Robert and Renee for no good damn reason.
Well, one thing...
Just for the sake of Patrick Stewart having a crying scene. That was all it was. We should kill him off. He wanted to be a good emotional crying scene. Get it up, Picard.
One thing I can say for Generations, though, honey, is that in spite of the fact that it was a total shit show,
Yeah.
it was still better than Stuart Baird's.
Yeah. That's another issue.
I mean,
But
Stuart
yeah,
Baird, it was.
Well, yeah, that's kind of why I appreciate, season 3 of Picard, because Terry Matalas did what I wanted to do with first. It's like, let's undo this, okay? Well, let the rest of the movie stand as its stupid self. Let's just undo the end, hit the reset button. Sometimes the reset button is your friend. And okay, fire averted. So Renee and Robert do not die in a fire at home. And the brief discussion on Picard's, on Worf's promotion party, and you hear Worf growl a bit. Number one, perhaps we should rethink that a bit. It's like, let Lieutenant Worf choose the nature of his party. I shall endeavor. No, take your time. And Deanna picks up. There's something. I'll talk to you later. And then helm, resume course. The Amagrosa array, warp 6.
Well,
so basically, in the one fell swoop, and maybe, I don't know, maybe 10 minutes of screen time, undo the entire thing where Soren's blown up stars, give him a happy ending, actually. And then the Enterprise D is never in trouble. Worf doesn't, Data has no reason to go off this thing with the emotion chip and just didn't do that entire thing. And so we'll start fresh on the next movie, okay? Find some other reason to retire the Enterprise D if you're that sick of it, guys. That's the only reason that ship was blown, because they didn't like the model.
I still like the bit with Data and Picard, though, where he says, and now you're dealing with one pissed off security system.
All right. Well, yeah, by this point, the emotions are a little more integrated. They're no longer unstable. So it's a nice evolution of Data, and really, it got to where they wanted to get Data to anyway, and where he still wasn't quite there, but close enough. But yeah, but the stuff they did in season 3 of Picard, that makes Generations a little more tolerable, because okay, the Enterprise does get restored later on. It takes about 20 years, but it gets fixed. Don't worry. And Kirk, he's not quite dead yet. Okay, he's on ice at Daystrom Station, waiting for someone to thaw him out and fire him up again. And hopefully I plan to see Shatner and say, hey, it wouldn't take much, to do an adaptation of The Return. Just replace the Borg with Section 31 as the bad guys. Using Borg technology, they had this, and have that be the catalyst, and the rest of it just let it flow, And if they really want to push them, well, we can't. You don't have to rebuild the set; they're already rebuilt. Okay, but either Ticonderoga or wherever the sets in Kingsland wind up, because they're moving, so they're sussing at a couple locations, but they will be moving.
That kind of sucks.
The guy wants to make money with his warehouse, so okay, we're moving somewhere else. No big deal. They'll still be up. They're safe. I'm not worried about that. But wherever they set up, whether it's still in Georgia or somewhere else, whatever, they'll be up. And different. I would lean more towards the Star Trek Continue sets, because they're working sets. I don't know how feasible it would be to shoot on the Ticonderoga sets now, because it's all enclosed and everything else. And, it looks nice, but I don't know if we actually do a production on there. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I just want to see Rick and Collie bury the hatchet. Damn it.
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened there. I think there were some issues there, but but the big thing is, though, the Star Trek News set is those are active production sets, and everything was still for the real experience of going. You'll see what it's like to be on the sets back in the '60s. You want to go to Star Trek Continues. Not Ticonderoga. Not Ticonderoga are nice and pretty and everything else, and plasma screens on the bridge and everything pretty. It's like, that's not the way it was. You didn't have all four walls in a room and everything else. No. You go to Kings, well, I know they're open now, but the Kings and Georgia sets, you'd have a wall out over there. For the longest time, they didn't have a view screen on the bridge. They didn't need it. The few times they did show the views, they CGI'd, they had a green screen there. But they wanted to. They wanted to, build a physical screen. And now they finally did. Because they're still actively using those sets for productions. Oh yeah, part of the justification for the way the saucer crashed was it was not a controlled situation because you had the warp core blowing up right next to it. So that threw things off. So I don't even though Marina asserts that planet just came out of nowhere. No, not gonna fault on them. What they should have done, they shouldn't have blown up in the first damn place. Because even later on, fans, why didn't you just eject the warp core?
Yeah,
or rotate the shield frequencies and LeVar Burton. Where were you when we needed you? It's like,
I heard somewhere that they actually auctioned off the command chair from Generations.
Oh, I don't know about that. I know the original Next Gen command chair was stolen, and they had to make a new one.
Was this?
Yeah, there are people taking souvenirs when they shut down Next Generation. Someone stole the command chair.
Whoa.
But like, as far as like, where were you up? Right, LeVar. Get this up here. Whoops, come on.
Yeah, I remember a certain buddy of ours saying that that she managed to get a few souvenirs of her own from DS9.
Oh yeah, they were shipping. But you remember this book at all? There, I mean, a lot of this is based on the writer's tech manual, and they go into the whole section here on ejecting the warp core if things go weird. Okay. There's a CD-ROM version that has it animated.
Yeah.
Let's see if I can find the diagram here. Saucer separation. Landing the saucer. How you plot a course. And that is one thing, but what kind of demystified things a bit. But there we are. Getting close.
Yeah, I was reading a thing on Smart News this morning, and apparently there's a certain character from Next Gen that, well, while he was despised during the series, apparently people have started to like him.
Which character?
Crusher.
Oh, yeah, here we are. One thing. What to do with a cranky warp core? You dump the fucker. Okay. And they go to sequence. Okay, first, the antimatter pods go bye-bye, and then the core. Yeah.
In fact, Wesley Crusher has, shown up a few times since then.
Oh, I know.
Including once on, I think it was Prodigy.
Will Wheaton is a whore, okay? Come on. He is an attention whore. You throw a check at him, he'll show up. Okay?
I think I heard a mention of something about him showing up and, uncredited in Picard.
They didn't show up there, I don't think. He was referenced. Beverly mentioned him once, but he never showed up.
Either way.
Wait, he did show up. Well, he didn't. Wait, end of season 2. When suddenly he's become the Doctor, and it's like it was whisked off, what's her face. Yeah, that's part of being a traveler. But no, again, I'm trying to forget those first two seasons ever happened. But But no, he was only mentioned briefly once in season 3.
Hmm.
When she's talking to Picard about it's like I already lost Wesley to and I didn't want to lose my second time.
Yeah. Come to think of it, I actually kind of like Jack.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool.
Oh yeah, part of it, a part of the thing of why they just handled it badly. A simple line of ejection system offline. We can't eject. We got to separate the ship. That would have covered it. Instead, all they needed. That's my channel. I can go erase it. But all we needed was let's just fit LeVar Burton with a little, travel back to his roots rules. Put the cap, napkin around his head and start webbing. Oh, Lordy, what do I do? What do I do? It's gonna blow. I don't know what to do. It's like do your Butterfly McQueen impression, LeVar. Let's do that because that's what they reduced you to. Suddenly, the chief engineer with that visor can see all kinds of doesn't know how to eject the damn warp core or report that he can't eject the warp core.
Yeah. Well, like I said, all things being equal, it was still better than what Stuart Baird did. And you're frozen.
Not good.
Not good at all. Oh.
He looks like he's passing gas.
Stevie said you look like you're passing gas. He'll be back in a minute. This is why I like you, Stevie. Ay, 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 ay. Ow.
So how are you doing, Steph?
Oh. I'm being tired. Okay.
I've been tired all day myself, actually. It's been raining really heavy here all day, so bit of a miserable day. Thunderstorm warnings for tonight and everything. Not good.
Okay.
And he's back, I think.
It's like it established a couple years earlier. The shield frequencies were rotated automatically. So that's kind of the fact that it was Brandon Bragg and Ron Moore that wrote this thing.
And there you go again, honey.
There, okay. Let's just forget this thing for a while. But yeah, they had to ignore so much stuff that some of them they themselves established. And that I just, I'm. So they sometimes forgot, okay, which one are you working on here? Okay, there's all good things. Or okay, yeah, movie. Okay. And so, they were bouncing back and forth. So I think part of that is also the studio.
Yeah.
Okay, there we go. God damn it. All right. Frankly, should have waited like 2 or 3 years before doing the Next Generation movie. Because you had DS9 up and running. Voyager was in the works. Okay. or at least someone had the idea of what another series to replace Next Generation. But it's like at the time I reviewed Westward about this was I think it was pretty sure it was Westward. And Star Trek Next Generation movie is like WKRP in Cincinnati the movie. When you just had a WKRP revival series on the air. It's like no one's clamoring for this, okay?
Oy. I don't know what the hell's going on, but you keep on blanking out.
It's called they're playing games with the Wi-Fi, I think.
Ah.
It's like, we ain't late yet, guys. Stop it. At least not horribly late, But and also I think part of the big thing that drove the original series, success in the movies and everything was that it was and the explosion in the reruns was that it was unfinished business. They got cut off early. Supposed to be a 5-year mission. We only got 3 years, and that's the animated series. Okay, yeah, we get more. And we're not through. We want the cute. Okay, but Next Generation
you're not shown on screen right now.
Oh, I'm looking fine here. So, but Next Generation.
True. Oh boy. Oh God. Gotta love it when the internet fucks with you.
Yeah. I've had a lot of problems over the years, man.
Yeah. That's not coming through, dear. Ow.
Hopefully, I'm getting back in soon here. There we go.
Yeah, that last time he said that you looked like you were passing gas.
Well, anyway, let's go and close that.
And you're frozen again. Oy. Yep. And there we go again. Jeez. Kiss my ass. Oy.
No, it's not. No push to go right to the movies. In fact, they mother. I'm gonna punch something in a minute. Okay. Go ahead and scrap the Enterprise D sets, build the Voyager set, and you're going to build new sets for the Enterprise E anyway. So, yeah. Man, also kind of irritated. So the behind the scenes stuff.
The internet's hating you today, Bob.
Oh, it sure is. And there he goes.
Mm.
Oh, hush, Bob. Well, anyway. We got this one friend in England that we haven't talked to in a while. Hey.
Yeah, the internet's terrible in England compared to the rest of the world. It really is.
Uh, there's this one guy we've known in England for years. Oh, he was one of the ones who started up this campaign to bring back Kirk after, after generations. And every once in a while we see him online, but in fact, there were a few times when I actually used to call him. Yeah. And then he'd call us back and make like he was some sort of you know some sort of Hindi telemarketer, and how he wanted to sell me this, and this. Yeah.
He sounds like a funny guy.
Oh yeah. Jason is definitely that. Yeah, he's over in Hull.
Oh, that's not too far, really.
Yeah. I'm not certain what he's doing at this point, but yeah, he's been rather busy lately, which is why we haven't talked to him.
Hey.
There we go. Part of it kicking this thing around, playing back and forth with the VPN. Okay. Now, when I saw Annie Jude showing off the big Enterprise, the Galaxy class with the number NCC 1701E, yeah, they were considered using the same model for the E, which has you mean you did that whole thing of blowing up the ship for nothing? That pissed me off more than anything. Part of it is questionable because things people are running into the post order. But also, if you run a little late, you have to play a bit. So I'm not sure which is going on here. Problems right after I pay. There we go. Yeah.
You just got a donation, honey.
Yeah, I know. That's why I put it up there. But, and yes, the rest of you slackers, you just step up, okay? I know we're down to one viewer right now, but still.
Yeah, might not be a bad.
You know how long it's been since I've had a super chat on this channel? It's been a while. Okay. So
yeah.
I don't want to go much further than this anyway. So we're going to go and wrap it up here. So again, for those coming in late, links in the description. I think memberships are still available. I think one person's had to hold on through all this. Yeah, that'd be you. Bless you, Charlie. Okay. We're finally starting to rack up some stuff here. It only takes one to finally. Oh, yeah, yes, it is. Okay. I'm not doing this for my health. Okay. All right. No, Jason is over in Hull. I think I still owe him some reviews, actually. He was doing a website for it, and I managed to crank out little pocket reviews of all the first season. I was supposed to do that, but we were living in the car at the time, so it's kind of hard to schedule time to do some writing. But all right, so actually, what? So how the hell are actually watching? Because I got K70 and Charlie. I'm only showing one here.
That's just YouTube.
So, yeah, well, it's the StreamYard's being weird, I think. Yeah, they're showing one. So again, we really can't count on the counters here. So hopefully more people are watching that aren't being counted by YouTube's strange little thing. Feel free to chime in and chip in. It would be nice to get a check out of YouTube more than once a year. So
yeah.
But yeah, I think in fact that would be fun to get Jason in on these two things, possibly chime in.
Do you still have his contact details?
On Facebook, yeah.
Yeah.
Start harassing him over there. Hey, get over here. We didn't make this a more international situation here. But yeah, we're at an hour 15. I generally don't go like more than an hour, especially with all the glitches been going on with this thing.
Yeah.
Alrighty. So there's a channel, folks, to check out. So,
okay.
But yeah, I think probably go ahead and wrap it up about now. I think we've exhausted the subjects for the most part. So basically, in summary,
And there you go again.
Very good.
Ay, ay, ay.
No look at all.
Think about the only way we'd get decent internet is if we were up on the space station.
there we go. Can't even wrap it up right. Okay. All right. But basically, wrap it up with Kirk's been bad. Let Skydance know immediately. Kirk's death was stupid, even after this time. And
Even
Roddenberry
so,
had reasons from he wasn't just
I do your Sam Kennison yell.
I think we'll just wrap it up here. So we'll talk at you later.